あ、あ、大丈夫だよ。よ
かった。じゃあ行こう。みーちゃん待ってるよ。
Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief.
なのにさとこちゃんね、絶対にできるって意地になっちゃって。
As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual.
それで
さとこちゃんブキッとだから何度やってもできないの。はう、かいかったんだよ。
I think Rena talked about was just silly nonsense. So I just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbors, and they called out to us.
あれ？ケイチちゃんにレナちゃん。今日はちょっと遅いんじゃないの？ミオンちゃん、先に行くって言ってたわよ。
ああ、みーちゃん怒ってるかな？怒ってるかな？早く行こう、ケイチくん。
After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Rena turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile.
あ、ケイチくん笑った。
なんだよ。
Rena stopped and stared at me.
ケイチくん、今朝もなんか元気なかったから、まだ風邪が治らないのかなって思ってたけど、大丈夫みたいだね。だね。
Okay, well, here's the thing, guys. So, with all this situation, with all that we've learned, there are still two possibilities. It could be that our friends are involved in the murders, or the second option is that they are not involved in the murders. I still don't know which one it is, but the important aspect of this is that if it's the second option, that they have nothing to do with the murders, and yet they're trying their damnedest to keep all this hush-hush about the situation. It very well can be possible that they're going to be the next victims of the next years. In similar fashion to how Satoshi just downright disappeared like last year. In that sense, we're just gonna live the rest of our lives over here with the possible thought that next year's Neon is gonna disappear, Satoko is gonna disappear, Rika or Rena, that eventually they're all gonna disappear just like that. That is another reason why we just cannot let this go. Like, no matter what, whether it's the girls specifically being part of the murders / disappearances, or them being like victims, future victims and all this, because they are connected to the murders / disappearances. It's not something that you can just brush off for the rest of your life. And with a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maebara, how can you still doubt Ren after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever until today, and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for this in this past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling.
で、ケイチくん。昨日のおはぎ、ちゃんと食べてくれた？
That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course, she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that.
圭一くん
I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. And of course, the knife that keeps on twisting inside the heart is that Rena right now is acting all innocent and all that. She is acting with those cute puppy eyes as if she didn't put, like, a needle inside the mochi. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maebara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I need to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. But still, keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long as for a... It seems that there wasn't as long as of a pause as I had thought. Somehow, I finally squeaked out the rest. However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. Delicious. Oishi. For a moment I panicked, thinking I replied incorrectly. Like, imagine if Keiichi accidentally said oishi, not referring to the man, but referring to the fact that, well, to the idea of mochi, of those mochis being delicious. After a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by the laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well.
そうなんだ。で、全部食べたのかなかな
My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here.
いや、全部は食べきれなかったからさ。まだ残ってるんだよ。
I was scared out of my wits. But that's how I played it.
あれれどれがレナが作ったのか当てる宿題はどうなっちゃったのかな
あの宿題って今日までだったっけ？
うん、今日までなんだよ。みーちゃん怒るよ。きっと罰ゲームだね。
We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Ren.
嘘だ
I recalled that unexpected, piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Oishi-san told me, didn't he?
実は調べてみたら竜宮さんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんですよ。なんでも学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだとか。
Rena had a disorder. that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school breaking the windows with a bat. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk, wind up. Walk, wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with the Rena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it wasn't imaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattered glass. The clenching noise as Rena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. And Rena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teachers? Probably none of these. In the face of that blood-curdling sight, of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, they weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would undoubtedly act according to her whims. Meaning I would, be the next window. Rena, staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then, Brenna struck me with the bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. Crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. Ugh. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent. It was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make up as pleasant a sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody, save me! Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. Of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gain nothing from saving a cramped school tryhard like me. Eventually, there will be a faint sound, similar to when you crack open a walnut, and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recall what Oishi-san told me.
でですね、そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテに、レナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですがね、その中に出てくるんですよ。結構。
何がです？
出てくるんですよ。 親代様って単語が。
Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama.
親代様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture. But it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rena did, was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. And that's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some curse. Except if it was people perpetrating the incidents, where my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe that those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. And there wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. And this was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Well, it is definitely not the first time that I am seeing this kind of dilemma, not gonna lie. If we are to believe, if we are to deny the occult, if we are to deny this mysterious being as the one responsible for the deaths and the endangerment of our friends, then that will mean that we would blame our friends. Which one do we want? Which was the better choice? Accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths? Like, if we were to accept this curse, then we would live the rest of our lives knowing that Rena and the others are being possessed by it in a cruel way. And if we were to not believe in Oyashiro, then we would think that they were involved in murders. Neither of those are really good. I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same way as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of whether my opponent were a human or a curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in. For no good reason at all.
圭一くん、さっきから変な顔してる。なんでだろう。
Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I had realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony.
鶴休みの圭一さんにはお似合いですことよ。圭一もレナもおはようございますです。おはよう、さとこちゃんにリカちゃん。
Not quite in the mood for it. I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently.
何なんですの？張り合いがありませんわ。圭一、まだ本調子じゃないみたいです。だから今日は加減してあげてね。
Suddenly, there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit.
よっ、ケイちゃん、しっかり休んできた？
It was Mion. My mind was full with the stuff about Ren. But Mion was also a party of interest. Remember, Keiichi, that hawkish gaze from yesterday.
ああ、おはよ
なんだなんだ、ずいぶんと覇気のない挨拶じゃん。差し入れのおはぎ、ちゃんと食べてくれなかったの？
I'm like this because I ate them. Those words were itching to be blurted out.
う。やっぱ食欲がなくてさ。いくつかは食べたけど、だいぶ残しちゃったんだ。
あれ、じゃあ宿題は？どれがレナの手作りかってのの回答は？ケイチくん宿題忘れなんだって。ありゃー、じゃあ仕方ないね。罰ゲーム。ひひひひひ。
Flashing a lurid smile, Mia returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversations up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. It's really this odd feeling of how these girls just continue as if nothing happened. So nonchalantly. It's quite fascinating to see. And that was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maebara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. As if they didn't care that there was the possibility of Keiichi being dead last night. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. In this free study period, it was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. After interacting with Oishi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No. Calling it a warning was just my habit of understanding things. It probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me, they were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. And the chilling sensation on my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using this seat until last year when it disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Could very well be possible. Damn. I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never! But were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. I mean... Okay. So... let's say that... they truly did intend to kill Keiichi with that needle. What then? I guess one can say that it will be considered an accident. Like, oh no, Rena or Mion accidentally dropped like a needle in the mochi. Would you find needles in the kitchen, to be quite honest? You would find them in metal cabinets, or I guess it's not really like stretching it to think that you would have like sewing needle in the kitchen as well, I guess. I don't know. It could very well be considered an accident if Keiichi were to choke on a mochi that had a needle in it. I guess in similar fashion to how that perpetrator died in the cell with a spork while eating. It is similar to that. Even having witnessed all their suspicious behavior, a warning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No. That's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends? Covering for them? My life was in danger. Was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that should have been deliberated on a long time ago. Really, Rena and the rest of them, were they actually aiming to kill me? The low voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Keiichi Maibara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that swing needle might have been just an accident, right? How can you screw up a dropping swing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. Both Rena and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously. But maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. I mean, there is also the fact that we are in anime world. We apply anime logic. We could think of, I don't know, Rena or Mion being all ditzy to the point of accidentally putting some wrong stuff, like even more crazy stuff than you would think in reality. I mean, I can totally imagine Nagisa in Clannad doing such a mistake like that. Not put like a needle or anything like that, but do something crazy to the food, like out of lack of experience of making said food. He wasn't just suspicious; he was outright ludicrous, right? Why not just corrected me for lying? And Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. And I was standing outside my door eavesdropping for a solid hour. She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room? And is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? Like, okay, let's assume that, once again, this is all, like, intensified from our perspective if we were to, like, exit the objectivity of such thing and try to find some excuses. Maybe Rena heard the call and we continued to talk to Oishi, and instead of being all spooky and such, she became so sad and just ran away home crying or something like that. Like if we were to exit that kind of mentality. You heard from Oishi-san, didn't you? I mean, Maybe it wasn't just an hour. Maybe it was just a couple of words there and then she just went by. About what Rena did at her former school. But at the hospital, she said it was Oyashiro-sama's fault.
いい加減にしろよ、前原圭一。お前、命を狙われてるって自覚あるのかよ。
I mean, again, there is that possibility of Oishi lying about some stuff, but I don't understand why he would lie about Rena being here originally from Hinamizawa and then just moved out and then came back. Unless, like, you could say that maybe Oishi was tricking us to make us think that our group is suspicious. But why these freaking children? Because they were connected to the murders? Oishi-san thinks that they're connected to the murders. But no. If he were lying, then that would mean that they are not connected to the murders. Maybe... Okay. No evidence for this. Maybe Oishi-san is in cahoots with whoever's doing this. And they're masterminding like the villagers of Hinamizawa to the point where they would kill each other. When in actuality it is Oishi-san and some other perpetrator that we don't know. Like the mastermind of all this. In this year's case, Tomitake and Tomitake died, that woman disappeared, and Oishi-san just comes here to put all these spooky, horrific murder ideas in Keiichi's mind to make him think that his group of friends are the ones responsible for this, when in actuality, no, it's not. And I really blurted those words out loud. Oh. Well, they heard it. I wonder if it's time to confront them. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Rena and the others, part of me somewhere was still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. I knew that, but I was just your average student. A man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends, who I'd been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday, now intended to kill me? Right? This time I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Rena and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oishi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made a resolution, I heard the bell signal the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I probably have happily jumped into that circle.
ケイチさん、帰り支度とはあんまりですことよ。
The way Satoko spoke was so typical familiar. It almost physically hurt.
あれ、ケイチくん、今日は都合悪いのかな？今日こそ二人で大勝利。はあ。
Seeing Rena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey Keiichi, maybe Oishi-san is just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. Trying to expunge such weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face.
ケイチくん？
Yeah. Is Rena really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not. I just wanted someone to say it was. Yet another weak-willed thought. When did I ever become this naive?
大丈夫？頭痛いの？
Apparently, that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Ren.
顔色悪いよ。一人で帰れる？送ってった方がいいかな？
いや、いい。ごめん。一人で帰れる。部活はみんなでやってくれよ。
After hearing that I wasn't going to participate in club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily.
ケイちゃんがリベンジ熱望してたってんで、今日はせっかくこの間の推理ゲームにしたってのにな。
圭一さんにはリターンマッチに臨む熱いハートはありませんですの？情けないですわね。
I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head.
圭一、具合悪そうです。かわいそうですよ。
It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder.
ごめんな。みんな。じゃあ。
And that's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. Okay. Objectivity or unreliable narration? Objectivity or unreliable narration. Either it is true what Keiichi saw with his own eyes, or it could be in his head. It could be like intensified emotions. Like, what could it be? Like, I keep thinking of the state of the victims thus far. Like, if they were affected mentally, it could very well be possible that Keiichi is affected mentally as well. In which case, he would see the stuff from a more disturbed perspective. In which case, it could very well be that they had nothing to do with all this. That all it is in Keiichi's mind. In which case, we have to focus on something else other than the girls. They are not the ones to worry about. It is something else. So, yeah, I think the source of this is to figure out the murder weapon of this. Something is affecting Keiichi's mind. That could very well be possible. If it affected Tomitake to the point of murder, and some of the other victims, it could very well be possible that Keiichi is going through the same thing. What that thing is, I have no freaking idea. So, it is a tough dilemma that we're going through right over here. Should we focus on the idea that it is Rena and the girls who are being affected by either this murder weapon or the curse of Oyashiro-sama? Or it is Keiichi who is being the one affected here? It is either the girls or Keiichi. The girls or Keiichi. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind. Took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Forward. Hardened at heart, Keiichi Maibara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them. Because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivete, while another part of me lamented the fact that I had lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. I felt like my personality was being ripped into, along with my body. This is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, and it was just too harsh. Like, so far, I'm not really liking this Oyashiro-sama, that's for sure. I am not liking this one bit. Whether it is Oyashiro who is possessing or affecting the girls, or is possessing or affecting Keiichi, or the other villagers, I do have one thing to say to this Oyashiro. I will tell you this. Take your physical manifestation, whatever it is. Exit the bodies of the girls and Keiichi. And or Keiichi. Just make yourself manifest in front of us. And then I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna take this finger. I'm gonna wrap the finger in a bunch of sewing needles or razors. And then I'm gonna do the same thing that was attempted on Keiichi's throat. I'm gonna shove that finger up your ass. It will hurt like crazy. Hey, Oyashiro-sama. I was wrong for not believing in your curse. But I believed in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. I beg you. Come on. I mean, it is a thing as old as time itself. Believing in kammis and such. It is because of our modern mentality that now we are questioning the old ways of believing in kammis and such. In this case, Oyashiro. It is because we are now going forward with the mentality of the new age, with the technology that we have created now, that we are starting to question things even more than we did so before. It is because of that we are now angering Oyashiro. I mean, can you blame Keiichi for having the mind that he has right now? The mind of a child who is discovering the world? Can you blame Keiichi for being this curious? And dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, either it meant he had just reached a good point to take a break, or he was in a slump.
とにかく作家のモチベーションってものを理解してないんだよ彼は。
タイアップの話だって口約束なんでしょ。そんなに反りが合わないならきっぱりお断りしたら。
助け合いの世界だからお互い様だとは思うんだけど、これじゃ仕事にな。
I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought processes I had going all day long. Friends close to me? No. They used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. I mean, it sucks, doesn't it? It sucks when your friends doesn't even, or like either they don't realize what is going on with Keiichi because of this fucked up curse or disease or whatever is happening to their minds, or they do realize and they're acting as if nothing is happening, even though Keiichi, one of their best friends, is being hurt by all this. That's the sucky part. It is something, but they are still friends nonetheless. They will remain friends till the end of this. It's just that, well, we gotta face this problem head on and solve it somehow. But I can no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on when push came to shove. There was something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in.